Why does she only start caring when you finally stop chasing? You've poured your heart out, stayed up at night overthinking texts, tried to be enough for someone who only showed up on her terms. But what if the real power was in your absence, not your attention? In this video, we're diving into the art and dark psychology of ignoring a woman, not to manipulate, but to reclaim your center, your clarity, your confidence. This isn't about games, it's about emotional mastery. Why does your silence trigger her more than your presence ever did? Let's talk about it calmly, deeply, and with the spiritual confidence of a man finally choosing himself. This one will change how you see everything. Why do you keep reaching out to someone who only answers when it's convenient for her? You tell yourself it's love, that maybe she's just busy, confused, or hurt, but deep down, there's a heavy silence inside you, one that knows you're giving more than you're receiving, that knows her inconsistency isn't harmless, it's emotional starvation. Here's what no one tells you. Ignoring a woman who plays with your time, your mind, and your loyalty isn't cruelty, it's clarity. It's the art of reclaiming the pieces of yourself that you've been handing out just to feel seen. Ignoring her is not about playing games or being alpha. It's about stepping away from someone who treats your effort like it's disposable. Why would you keep explaining your value to someone who stopped listening? Why do you keep showing up fully for someone who only gives you half? Think of it like this. Every time you respond to her breadcrumbs, that occasional hey, the delayed response, the attention only when she feels bored, you teach her that your boundaries are flexible, that your loyalty comes with no self-respect attached, that no matter how she behaves, you'll still be there. But what if, just once, you didn't reply? What if you chose silence, not to hurt her, but to heal you? Because ignoring her doesn't mean you don't care. It means you finally care enough about yourself to stop bleeding for someone who only visits when it suits her ego. This isn't about ego, it's about dignity. It's about choosing your peace over her patterns. Imagine putting your energy back into yourself, into your health, your work, your purpose. Imagine waking up without wondering how she feels and finally asking, how do I feel? You're not here to chase love that feels like emotional warfare. You're not here to be tested, tolerated, or controlled. You're here to rise. And sometimes rising means walking away in silence, with your head high and your heart intact. Because the moment you stop proving your worth to someone who never deserved it, that's when healing begins. Ignoring her isn't punishment. It's protection, it's peace, it's power. And above all, it's proof that you finally chose yourself. Why are you spending your energy trying to prove your worth to someone who treats your attention like it's disposable? You text her first. You double text. You wait for replies that come hours later, if at all. And when they do, they're cold, vague, or laced with just enough warmth to keep you hanging. But here's the truth. Attention is currency, and you've been giving yours away for free to someone who doesn't invest back. This isn't about being heartless, it's about understanding your value. Every time you give your attention to someone who doesn't respect it, you're silently telling yourself that your time, energy, and emotions are negotiable. But are they? Ask yourself, would you keep depositing money into a bank that never let you withdraw? Then why are you pouring your presence, effort, and emotional availability into someone who only takes? Attention is one of the most powerful things a man can offer. When you give it to a woman, you're saying, you matter. I see you. I prioritize you. But what happens when she doesn't return that focus? When your texts are ignored, your time overlooked, your kindness treated like an option instead of a gift? You start questioning your worth. You start shrinking yourself to be enough. You start begging, not directly, but emotionally, just for her to validate your effort. But here's the deeper truth. You were never meant to beg for what's meant for you. Imagine if you redirected that attention toward yourself, toward healing, toward your goals, your health, your peace. Imagine how powerful you'd feel, knowing that your energy is being spent on things and people that actually fill you, not drain you. Men aren't opposites. They're building your it's encouraging. It's how you protect your emotional ecosystem. It's how you make room for someone who sees you consistently as strength. So the next time you feel the urge to check your phone, to reach out again, to explain your silence, pause. Ask yourself, is this person adding to my life or just occupying space in it? Does this connection fuel my soul or feed my self-doubt? Your attention is sacred. It deserves to be earned, not expected. Choosing not to give it to someone who mishandles it doesn't make you cold. It makes you conscious. And consciousness is where healing begins. You don't need to fight for someone who's not fighting for you. Start fighting for yourself. That's how you win. Why do you feel the need to explain yourself to someone who never truly tried to understand you? You've probably been there, writing long messages, replaying conversations in your head, trying to make her see your heart. You explain why you're hurt. You explain your intentions. You try to be calm, mature, and patient, hoping she'll finally acknowledge your effort. But instead, you're met with silence or worse, defensiveness. And suddenly, you're the problem again. Here's something no one tells you. Your silence can say more than 1,000 justifications ever could. When you over-explain, you're not just trying to be understood, you're often trying to be accepted by someone who's already decided not to meet you halfway. It's not about clarity anymore, it's about validation. But how long will you keep searching for understanding from someone who benefits from keeping you confused? There's a quiet power in walking away without the need to defend your heart. Think of it this way. Would a king beg a roomful of critics to believe in his crown? Or would he stand tall in silence, knowing that truth doesn't need permission to exist? Sometimes saying nothing is the most honest response. It's the moment you say, I know who I am. I don't need your permission to feel this way. I don't need to be understood to be at peace. Silence isn't weakness. It's wisdom. It's choosing your emotional well-being over circular arguments. It's realizing that the right person won't need 10 explanations to see your value. They'll feel it in how you show up. They'll meet your emotional maturity with their own. Ask yourself, why am I explaining myself so much? What am I trying to prove? And to whom? And what if I gave that energy to someone who actually listens, like myself? You deserve peace, not performance. You deserve relationships where you can be heard, not decoded. You deserve a space where your heart doesn't have to be translated just to be safe. So the next time you're tempted to write that long message, pause, breathe, reconnect with your truth, and remind yourself that your silence isn't the absence of love, it's the presence of self-respect. Choosing not to explain yourself isn't running away, it's rising above. And every time you choose yourself, you step closer to the healing, peace, and power you've always deserved. Why do you feel guilty for pulling back when she's the one who kept pushing you away? You were available, you showed up, you stayed when most would have walked, and yet she grew distant, cold, confusing. She would pull you close with just enough affection to keep you hopeful, and then disappear emotionally when you needed her most. You tried harder, you got softer, you gave more, but nothing changed except you. You started losing yourself. Here's what no one talks about. Pulling back isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's what happens when your nervous system is done living in a cycle of emotional whiplash. You're not abandoning her, you're returning to you. And that's something no one should feel ashamed of, because sometimes silence is the only boundary you have left when your voice has been drowned out by someone else's comfort. You see, women notice when you start to pull back, but not always because they care. Sometimes it's because they miss the control, they miss the reassurance, they miss your energy feeding their ego, even if they never valued it when they had it. So ask yourself, am I being missed, or am I being used to feel desired again? Pulling back lets you observe clearly, without the emotional noise. It's how you learn what your absence truly reveals. Does she reach out? Does she reflect? Or does she stay silent until you return, only to repeat the same patterns? Think of this like a reset. When you pull back, you're not punishing her, you're creating space for the truth to surface. It's not about playing games, it's about protecting your peace. If she genuinely cares, she'll notice your absence and meet you with effort. Not guilt trips, not manipulation, but real, vulnerable presence. And if she doesn't, then maybe the relationship was built more on your consistency than her contribution, and you deserve more than that. You deserve to be met in the middle. So let go of the guilt. Let go of the fear that you're being too cold or too distant. That's the conditioning of someone who's been emotionally trained to earn love by sacrificing himself. You don't have to explain why you're pulling back. The truth is in how you feel when you're constantly the one holding the emotional weight. Choose yourself this time, not to hurt her, but to finally heal you. Because the moment you stop apologizing for protecting your peace is the moment you begin to truly reclaim your power. Why do you keep proving your loyalty to someone who keeps testing it, but never truly deserves it? You stay late to talk when you're tired, you cancel your own plans to be available, you tolerate silent treatments, mixed signals, and emotional games, all in the name of love. You keep hoping your loyalty will eventually make her see your worth. That maybe if you're consistent enough, patient enough, soft enough, she'll stop testing you and finally choose you. But here's the truth that stings. The more you prove your loyalty to the wrong person, the more you betray yourself. Some women don't want loyalty, they want control. They want to know you'll stay no matter how they treat you. And every time you stay through the disrespect, every time you choose peace over honesty, every time you minimize your own needs to avoid conflict, you teach her that your boundaries are negotiable. What would happen if you stopped trying to earn what should be mutual? What if, instead of explaining your loyalty, you asked yourself if it was being reciprocated at all? Healthy loyalty isn't loud, it doesn't beg to be seen, it's quiet, rooted in mutual respect and emotional safety. But when your loyalty starts feeling like bondage, like an emotional chain wrapped around your own needs, that's not love. That's self-abandonment. And here's where the darkness creeps in, not from her, but from within. That little voice that tells you, if I walk away, I'll lose her. But if I stay, I'm losing myself. That voice is not weakness. It's your soul trying to wake you up. Loyalty should never come at the cost of your dignity. You don't need to prove that you're a good man by staying in spaces that chip away at your spirit. You're not a failure for needing peace. You're not too sensitive for needing to feel seen. But pause for a moment. Ask yourself, is this love helping me grow, or is it shrinking me to fit someone else's comfort? Am I loyal, or am I afraid of being alone? Because here's the most healing truth of all. You don't need someone to validate your worth. You just need the courage to stop proving it. When you stop giving everything to someone who gives you breadcrumbs, you make space for the one who sees your loyalty as a gift, not a leash. Choose yourself, not out of spite, but out of sacred respect. That's not selfish. That's healing. And that's where your real power begins.